Viewers, I hope you watched my hangout with Sandhya Ravishankar yesterday on what is happening in Chidambaram Temple. And we are also trying to explain to our viewers that this is basically a way of distracting the people of Tamil Nadu and perhaps of the whole world away from what is happening with Senthil Balaji. Now, yesterday, the governor sent a letter dismissing Senthil Balaji as a minister without portfolio. So he was already stripped of his portfolios, but Stalin had retained him as a minister without portfolio. In fact, his office already had the signboard changed to reflect that he was a minister without portfolio. Now, the governor then moved on to write a letter saying that he's dismissing Senthil Balaji as a minister without portfolio because he is acting according to the Indian Constitution. Now, what happened was that after that, Stalin said that I will challenge this in court legally. Now, something very interesting happened after that. And to understand what happened after that, I'm going to show you a small slide deck. We're going to talk about Senthil Balaji first, and then afterwards, I need to clarify a few things about the Chidambaram Temple. But most importantly, please like this video. Also, if you have not already subscribed to our channel, do subscribe to our channel. Here we go. So, at 11:46 p.m., late in the night, TN Governor R.N. Ravi had written another letter to Stalin saying that he needs to consult with the Attorney General. Who's the Attorney General? Mr. Venkataramani, and get his opinion on the removal of Senthil Balaji from the Council of Ministers. And in the meantime, his order dated 29 June 2023 and blah 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 has been put on hold. It has been put on hold. Now, what we know what the Dravida ecosystem will do. They'll say that DMK has already won. All he has done is that he needs to check with the Attorney General about some technicality. I think it has to do with the fact that Senthil Balaji has still not been officially under Enforcement Directorate's custody, or that this clarification of this is still pending in the court. The bench heard the arguments from both sides on Tuesday, and the judgment has been reserved. It is hoped that the judgment will be read out any day today, and that might, clear the way for Senthil Balaji to be removed as the minister without portfolio, because it is important to do this thing according to the Constitution. What are the benefits of being a minister? If you are a minister in the Council of Ministers, then your treatment expenses will be borne by the exchequer. That is taxpayer, you and me. When he does not have the minister padvi, when he doesn't have the post of the minister, then all those expenses have to be borne by him. So this is one way to perhaps make sure that Senthil Balaji doesn't spend an indefinite amount of time in a hospital, because nobody is still buying that he actually underwent bypass surgery. The man looks very fit, guys. So there are some questions about that also. So this is just an intermediate point in the saga. We will keep you updated as and when things evolve. So I just want you to stay tuned on this. So this is the first part of my talk. The second part has to do with the Chidambaram Temple. I had a couple of my facts wrong in the Sandhya Ravishankar hangout. One is that this was an Agama temple. No, it is not an Agama temple. It's a Vedic temple. There was a time when one of the kings gave the temple of Chidambaram and the Dikshithas who are running it control over 16 villages around. He was trying to create something like the concept of a Vatican city, so that the revenue, the tax revenues of all these villages would go towards the upkeep of the temple. The king was still taking care of everything, but this was within his kingdom, an enclave, if you will. That is the amount of importance that Chidambaram has got. In fact, the name Chidambaram comes from a word called Chitrambalam. Chitrambalam. So what it is chit, chitchor, right? Chit is what you think, and ambalam is universe. So you can think of it as the knowledge of the universe, or who is the person who gives you the knowledge of the universe? That is Lord Shiva. Now, there are 5 mukhya sthalas for Lord Shiva, and one of them is Chidambaram, where it is supposed to be called as Kanaka Sabai. Kanaka Sabha, Kanaka is gold. And Sabha is, a place where, it's like Lok Sabha, Rajya Sabha, and so on. So this is the importance of the temple of Chidambaram. So how did this happen? Because many of the children, especially in the United States, are shown this as one of the symbols of Hinduism, and the teachers usually say, oh look, their god is dancing over a baby. Okay, so this is the way that it's always captured, and the kids come away confused. Oh, that is so sad. It is so bad. How can a god trample a baby? Right? So let's go back to see what the story about this is. According to Hindu legend, in the 𝙒𝙧𝙤𝙪 forest, 𝙒𝙧𝙧 is mangrove in Tamil, and this area has a lot of mangrove trees, and there were a group of sages who believed in the supremacy of magic, that the gods could be controlled by rituals and mantras. Shiva, hearing this, assumed the form of 𝙤𝙧𝙤𝙪, that is a mendicant or a poor man or a sage, whatever you want to call that, and went walking in this area. And he was followed by his consort Vishnu as Mohini. When the people, the sages and the sages' wives looked at them, they were so enchanted by their beauty that some of the sages got really angry and they wanted to finish off this mendicant. They didn't know who this mendicant was. To them, they looked like, here is a sadhu who has come here and he is ruining everything, and they got jealous. So what they tried to do was they tried to kill the sadhu. First, what they did was they created a snake, and that snake was supposed to bite him and he was supposed to die. But Shiva lifted the serpent, it's not one but many serpents, and donned them as ornaments on his matted locks and neck and waist. When you go back and look at the picture, you'll understand what I'm talking about. When this happened, they got further enraged, and the sages invoked a fierce tiger, and that tiger was killed and its skin was worn by Shiva as a towel, around his waist. Then they created a fierce elephant which was ripped to death and devoured by Shiva, an episode that has been depicted in a different Purana called 𝙤𝙧𝙤𝙪. You can go and look it up on web. The sages gathered all their spiritual strength and invoked the powerful demon called 𝙒𝙗𝙧𝙤𝙪, and a symbol of complete arrogance and ignorance. Shiva smiled gently, stepped on the demon's back and immobilized him, and performed the Ananda Tandavam, the dance of eternal bliss, thus disclosing his true form. The sages surrendered, realizing that rituals cannot control the god. Now let's take a look at the picture. You see the snakes? The snakes are not just around his waist, but they are also around his locks. And then you can see the demon 𝙒𝙗𝙧𝙤𝙪 who's being controlled by Shiva. So he is actually controlling a demon. And there are many other spiritual examples or interpretations of this. I will leave you to go back and look at what it really means. But dancing Shiva is considered to be one of the most important thalas for Shiva. And like I said, this is something that it is believed that Shiva himself came down with the Dikshidhars to build this temple. So we will see how these things play out. Thanks for watching. Please like, share and subscribe to our channel. Don't forget to click on the bell button for notification. I'm going to try and get Sri T.R. Ramesh to give us a little bit more perspective about how this temple and how the Dikshidhars have been constantly harassed by the then government all the way from the independence. In fact, probably we'll go back even more. It's a very interesting story. This is not the first time they have been harassed. This will not be the last one. Hopefully this time there is a permanence to it. Let's wait and see how this goes. Thank you.